Welcome to TWT Talks with Tito. This is Tito Medrano back for another episode, back in your life. So today we're going to talk about the top 4 pro wrestlers that never won the WWE belt or the World Heavyweight title belt. And when I mean the belts, I mean belts that include either WWE or / WWF or WCW. I'm not going to include the ECW belt because, or this includes WWE, the WWE company. And obviously it also includes WCW because, it's a company they bought. And some of the guys that are in this list, well, 2 of the guys that are in this list were a part of that company at one point. And let's kick off with number 4. Coming in at number 4, Shelton Benjamin. Why is Shelton Benjamin in this list? It's simple on why he's in this list. Shelton Benjamin is a guy that had everything going on. He has the looks, he has the wrestling ability. His mic skills were probably not the best, but I feel like the fact that he never won the belt is one of the biggest, it's one of the things that I would never understand. Because if you think of Shelton Benjamin, you think of OVW. Think of all the guys and girls that came out of OVW. Brock Lesnar, Randy Orton, John Cena, Batista, Victoria, Shelton Benjamin. I just mentioned Brock Lesnar, Randy Orton, Batista, John Cena. They all of them have main event at WrestleMania, or they are world champions, and some of them future Hall of Famers. Shelton Benjamin was a part of that class, and he never won the WWE belt, or he never even won the world title belt. It's crazy to believe there could have been a time where they could have put the belt on Shelton Benjamin. They could have made him the world champion when he was the gold standard, gold standard world champion, the big gold belt. They never did. Shelton Benjamin wasn't one of those guys that had great matches with anybody in WWE. And in 2025, he's still wrestling till this day in AEW now. He did come back to WWE a few years back. I don't know what year he came back. Can't think of the top of my head. But, obviously it wasn't the same Shelton Benjamin that they were going to push. But the reality is this. Shelton Benjamin not winning the WWE belt, not winning the world title belt is probably one of the biggest crimes in professional wrestling. Because if you look at the African-American wrestlers that won that belt, Booker T, Mark Henry, Bobby Lashley, Kofi Kingston, Big E, just to name a few guys that won that belt. Oh, The Rock. The Rock is half African-American, half Samoan, so let's not forget. The fact that they won the belt and Shelton Benjamin is not a part of that list, it's just mind-blowing. And, I still can't believe WWE never capitalized on making Shelton Benjamin a world champion or a WWE champion. But nevertheless, Shelton Benjamin comes in at number 4. Coming in at number 3, Owen Hart. Yes, Owen Hart. There was times with Owen Hart, we thought that he would win the WWE belt in 1994 when he faced his brother Bret Hart. A lot of us were kind of hoping that he would win that belt. And this is way before I even started watching wrestling. Owen Hart had everything to be a champion. Unfortunately, Owen Hart was in a position where during that time, during the 90s and 80s, but mainly 90s because that's where Owen Hart was practically known for in the 90s. He was in a disadvantage because, they were pushing guys that were bigger and had a bigger physique. And Owen Hart was small. And he was always in a disadvantage. He did win the IC title belt. He did win the IC title belt, the European title belt, the tag team belt with, his brother-in-law, the British Bulldog, with other competitors. But he just never won the big belt, which was the WWE belt. He had a chance to do it against Bret Hart. It just never happened. His older brother at SummerSlam. Steel cage match, which he lost. Prior to that WrestleMania 10, he beat Bret Hart. But it's crazy to believe that Bret Hart could have probably dropped the belt. I'm sure Bret Hart wanted to drop the belt to Owen. and have Owen, because, you know, Owen was pretty good as a heel too. Shocked that they didn't capitalize on that, but they just didn't. And long behold, after Bret Hart beats his brother Owen, he then drops the belt to Kevin Nash a month later. So I just didn't understand why they never put the belt on Owen. And from there, Owen Hart was just placed as the mid-carder. Never got the chance to win the belt. We know what happened in the Montreal Screwjob. His brother Bret left. He still sticked around. And obviously, he tragically passed away in 1999. But the what ifs if Owen Hart would have won the world title or the WWE belt, a lot of people even go on the record saying that he was the better brother as far as the rest. I'm not gonna go there because honestly, I feel like Bret Hart, Owen Hart, two different wrestlers, and both guys, they were both two different wrestlers, but they were both great wrestlers. So I'm not gonna go there and compare both of them because it's not fair. Not only to the wrestling public, to the wrestling community, let alone to the hardcore wrestling fans, but it's not fair to like the Hart family and all that, because I feel like both guys were great. But obviously Owen Hart was just something special during that time. But like I said, there was a lot of disadvantage that he had that they didn't want to put the belt on him. And yeah. And if you look at Owen Hart, he's a guy that he inspired a lot of wrestlers like Chris Jericho, Adam Cole, Kevin Owens. So yeah. Owen Hart, hopefully one day he finally can be in the WWE Hall of Fame now that Triple H is in charge. Hopefully Martha can sit down with Triple H and discuss that. But, if it never happens, it never happens. But hopefully his widow, Martha, will allow Owen Hart to be in the Hall of Fame one day because I feel like he deserves to be in the WWE Hall of Fame. All right, going into number 2, WWE Hall of Famer, two-time WWE Hall of Famer, Razor Ramon, Scott Hall. Yes, it's shocking that this guy never became a world champion, let alone a WWE champion. Because if you look at Scott Hall, Razor Ramon, he is arguably one of the best wrestlers that never won that belt. He is one of charismatic character that he had, one of the best heels in the 90s. And he can have a good match with Shawn Michaels, Kevin Nash, his buddies, Triple H, Undertaker, during the time Bret Hart. A lot of these guys during the 90s, he can go toe-to-toe with anyone. And if you look at during the time in WCW, we thought that Scott Hall, Razor Ramon would finally win the big title, the big gold belt. No, it never happened. He just won the WCW tag team belt. And it's a shame. I know a lot had to do with drug abuse and alcohol abuse. That the reason is probably why they never trusted him to be the guy. That would probably play a factor too. But I feel like he should have had a run with the belt at least once. Either WCW or WWE, he should have had a run with that belt. And it's crazy to believe he never did. Yes, he is a 4-time Intercontinental Champion. But the fact that he never won the world title or the WWE belt, it's just mind-blowing. But, I know a lot had to do probably with, drug abuse and alcohol abuse. But, it's a shame. And at least he's a 2-time Hall of Famer with the NWO and Razor Ramon, the character. And may he rest in peace too. It's been 3 years since he passed away, and he is one of the greats to ever do it. That never won a WWE belt or a world title, but he still was a great talent regardless. He was a part of an era where you look at that era, you'll know who Razor Ramon is, and you know who Scott Hall was. So, and he was a cool guy. He was the cool guy that everybody wanted to be. So it was awesome. He inspired a lot of talents, to say the least, in this generation to come. All right, coming in at number 1. The one guy that I can't believe till this day, and I didn't watch wrestling during the 80s and early 90s, but I would hear so much about him. And then when I watched them during WCW, I'm like, I understand why this guy is so cool. Coming in at number 1, the guy that never won a WWE belt or a world title belt, Roddy Piper. The Hot Rod. Roddy Piper. Yes, I will never understand how he never won a world title. This is arguably the greatest heel in the 80s and 90s. Roddy Piper is the type of guy that if you're an up and coming wrestler or up and coming anything in this industry and you want to Like just an up and coming wrestler, for example. If you're trying to pursue wrestling or acting or anything, he's one of the guys that you want to look at his promos, because his promos were just amazing. He was a great heel. His wrestling was great. You look at Roddy Piper, you think of champion material. Yes, he won titles. He won the IC title. Like all the guys that are in this list won the IC title. But sometimes winning the IC title, it means they're preparing you to win the big one, but it's not always like that. For example, the guys that are in this list. But Roddy Piper, I just feel like he never won the belt because he was stuck in an era where there was a guy that was the face of an era. For Roddy Piper, he was stuck in the Hogan era during the 80s and early 90s. And we know that Hogan was Vince's favorite during that time. WrestleMania 1, Hogan beats Roddy Piper, and we were hoping they would do the rematch. We were hoping that Roddy would be WWE champion as a heel and face Hogan. No, they didn't do that. They went a different route. Roddy Piper had a boxing match with Mr. T at WrestleMania 2. And then after that, Roddy Piper just never played with the idea of him being the WWE champion in WWE. Then Roddy Piper was in WCW. He faced Hulk Hogan at Starrcade 1996. He beat Hogan. At Starrcade 1996. But guess what? The world title, the WCW world title was not on the line. Roddy Piper did not win that belt. And it's just like, are you serious right now? And if I'm being honest, Roddy Piper was a better wrestler. Roddy Piper was just arguably a better character and had more charisma than Hulk Hogan. Just saying. But yeah, I mean, it's just like, it's just one of those things that I can't understand. How did Roddy Piper never became WWE champion, or let alone world champion? I'll never understand it. But yeah. We know that Roddy Piper passed away in 2015. It was a sad moment in professional wrestling. A guy that pretty much inspired a lot of people. If you look at Roddy Piper, there's a lot of wrestlers that are similar to him. Not as far as like wrestling, but promo. You look at MJF, kind of like similar to Roddy Piper where he's on the mic. But yeah, I'll never understand how Roddy Piper never became WWE champion, let alone world champion. But yeah, it is what it is. That is my number one. What you guys thought of the list? I know it was a short list. Top 4 of wrestlers that never won the belt. Comment below. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed on the YouTube channel, and subscribe on the Spotify channel. And comment below. And follow the TWT Talks with Tito's page. Next week we have UFC 314. It's definitely something that I will definitely talk about. So don't, MMA fans, don't think that I forgot about you guys. We're going to talk about that event soon, so don't worry. And let's not forget, it's going to crown the new UFC featherweight champion between Alexander Volkanovski versus Diego Lopez. That fight's going to be good. Let's talk about that real quick, not just a little bit. So UFC 314, Alexander Volkanovski versus Diego Lopez, and we have Michael Chandler versus Paddy Pimblett. Yair Rodriguez versus Patricio Pitbull, former Bellator champion. So, I mean, there's a lot of good fights that are going to happen that event. That's for next week, though. Wait. Actually, no. No, it's in 2 weeks. So, next week, I'll probably talk a little bit about it, but I will do a post afterwards for sure. So, MMA fans, don't worry. I haven't forgot about you guys. But, yeah. With that being said, guys, thank you guys so much for today's episode. I know it was short, but it was nice to talk about it. I'll see you guys in the next episode. You guys take care. Goodbye.